Hey everybody, it's Mr. Marklevitz once again, today bringing you another lecture video. We are starting our new unit, Unit 4, and today we are talking about sound, specifically types of sound. Now, we're going to get into dialogue and voiceovers and music and sound effects and all that good stuff later, but today we're going to talk about the ways that sound can be used to enhance the movie-going experience for you, the audience. So let's talk about some basic terms. First, sound perspective. The sounds heard by the audience reflect the relative distance from their source. You've all watched Sesame Street, right? Grover, near, far, he runs up close to the camera and says, "This is near." And then he runs far away into the background and he screams out, "This is far!" And in this skit from Sesame Street, Frank Oz, who is the voice of Grover, is using sound perspective in order to teach children about the difference between near and far. Basically, again, I'm near the camera, so my audio should reflect that. You hear me very clearly, right? Whereas if I was far away, you might want to, drop my audio level or put an echo effect on my voice in order to create the illusion that I'm further away from the camera. You also have on-screen sounds and off-screen sounds. And I love whoever came up with these terms, bravo, because I don't even have to write the definition here. On-screen sound, what is that? Oh, it's the sound that originates from an on-screen source. Oh, that makes sense. Before this, I taught AP Language and AP Literature for 9 years. I don't know what equivocation means. That was a term that I had to teach children. I don't know what it means. On-screen sound, yeah, I got that one. I don't even have to study that one. But anyway, yeah, an on-screen sound. A sound from an on-screen source. You have a character talking on screen, that's an on-screen sound, all right? You have a character talking and they're not seen on screen, well, that must be an off-screen sound, okay? Off-screen sounds can enhance the ambiance of the scene. Let's take a look at this example from When Harry Met Sally.
Would I have seen any of your windows?
Did you see the Barney's thing a couple of weeks ago? I did a thing with the hostage.
Oh, the people in blindfolds.
Yeah. I thought it was like late 80s.
So in this scene from When Harry Met Sally, we have 4 people seated at a restaurant talking to one another, and their conversation would be on-screen sounds. But we also have these ambient sounds that are happening off-screen. Characters, murmuring at nearby tables, a waiter pushing a cart through the restaurant, footsteps on the floor. All of these different sounds, these ambient off-screen sounds, are contributing to the believability of the scene. Imagine that they weren't there and all we got was the conversation between the 4 characters. It would just feel weird. In addition to enhancing the ambiance of a scene, an off-screen sound can also be used to introduce a character. Let's say you have, your subject is in the kitchen and they're making some dinner, and then all of a sudden from off camera you have a character say, "Hey, Mr. Marklevitz, what's going on?" And then I turn around and we cut to the person that just said my name. That's using an off-screen sound in order to introduce this new character. Horror films love to do that, right? You've got a bunch of sexy teens in a room, and then all of a sudden you hear some off-screen sound, and one of the characters goes, "Oh, what was that? I don't know, let's go check it out." And then they all end up dead, right? Introducing a character using an off-screen sound. You see it all the time, all right? Then you have diegetic and non-diegetic sounds. Diegetic sounds, sounds that flow from the narrative world of the visual story. What am I talking about? Well, let's say you're watching a film and you have a character talking, right? We as an audience understand that their dialogue can be heard by the characters in the film. You have 2 characters talking to one another. The words that they're using to communicate back and forth to one another, those are diegetic sounds because they live in the visual world of the story. A non-diegetic sound is a sound that does not originate from the world of the story. Okay, it's not always, but oftentimes music used to enhance the mood of the film. Maybe it's this, you know, sound effect that's used to sort of create suspense. These are sounds that are used specifically to, like I said, enhance the mood of the film, but we as an audience understand that the characters in the film wouldn't be able to hear those sounds. So let's take a look at this example from The Shining. In this scene, we have Danny Torrance riding his big wheel through the halls of the Overlook Hotel. We hear the sound of his pedaling. That's a diegetic sound. But we also have this really eerie music that is sort of enhancing the dread that Stanley Kubrick wants us to feel as this young boy drives his big wheel through this haunted hotel. Danny can't hear that music, only we can, okay? So that would be a non-diegetic sound because that music does not originate from the story. Sometimes, though, music can be diegetic, right? You have a character who's practicing for a recital, or a character turns on the radio, or a character is at a concert or a dance, and that music that's playing in the background that they're dancing to or that they're listening to originates from the story of the film. Well, that would be music that's used as a diegetic sound, okay? But yeah, typically, you know, a lot of film scores, okay, sound effects that are used to sort of increase tension, right? A lot of those wah-wahs, those would be non-diegetic sounds. It's also important to note, and I'm going to talk about this throughout the unit, that almost all the sounds that you're hearing when you're watching a film, whether that's dialogue or sound effects or music, were recorded separately and then added to the film later. And I'm going to talk about that in a lot more detail when we get into sound editing and sound mixing, but I just wanted you to know that. Like, for example, that scene from When Harry Met Sally, I guarantee that the off-screen ambient sounds that we're hearing in the background was not recorded by the people that you're actually seeing in the background, okay? It was probably a sound effect library that they just threw in there and said, yeah, that fits, okay? Your lab assignment for this week, I want you guys to create a short video that utilizes at least 2 on-screen sounds, 1 off-screen sound, and 1 non-diegetic sound, okay? Doesn't need to tell a story. It can all be done in a single shot. I just want to see a video where, again, you are incorporating 2 on-screen sounds, 1 off-screen sound, whatever that might be, and 1 non-diegetic sound. If you have any questions, obviously talk to me in class, email me, whatever, but that is going to be your lab assignment for lesson 4.1. And then this week we are going to be watching Brief Encounter. This is one of my favorite films. We were originally going to watch this in our unit on cinematography, and then while I was watching it, I just went, wow, no. No, this is not a film for cinematography. It could be, but no, this is a much better film for teaching you guys about the importance of sound. It is a beautiful film from 1945. We're going to make it a lean night. It's going to be wonderful. And again, I recognize that you know, that date might scare some of you because yeah, it's one of the older films that we're going to watch this year. But what a wonderful film. And coming in there just at 90 minutes long, I love it. I absolutely love movies. Good movies that are an hour and a half, man. I'll take all of it. I'll take all of them you got, all right? Anyway, that's it for lesson 4.1. I've been Mr. Marklevitz. You've been amazing. I'll talk to you later. Bye.